Good morning, everyone. It is Friday, September 16th, 2016, and this is your fun fact of the day. Your famous failure for today, his name is Edgar. Edgar never really knew his real family. His father left when he was only 3 years old, and his mother died when he was very young. He got separated from his siblings. He went to live with foster parents, John and Frances Allen. He was a tobacco merchant, and she was his wife, and they lived in Virginia. Edgar got along with Frances, his stepmom, or his foster mom, but never really got along with John as much. Edgar preferred poetry over profits, just writing in general rather than being a merchant. Edgar went to the University of Virginia in 1826, but didn't receive enough funding from his stepdad to cover all of his costs. So Edgar turned to gambling to try to cover some of these costs, and it backfired miserably. He returned home to face only another setback to discover that his neighbor, or rather the neighbor's daughter, had become engaged to someone else. I've heard some accounts say that Edgar was already engaged to this woman, and then she got engaged to someone else, basically broke it off without telling him while he was away at the university. Either way, it's not fun. Heartbroken and frustrated, Edgar left his foster parents. Edgar eventually won a spot to the West Point Military Academy, up in New York State, in 1830. Edgar was excellent at handling his studies, but was kicked out after a year for such poor handling of his duties. Guess the military wasn't for him either. Some speculated he intentionally sought to be court-martialed. During his time at West Point, Edgar fought with his foster father and just had to sever ties with him completely. He stayed in Baltimore. Edgar stayed in Baltimore with his aunt and her daughter Virginia, his young cousin. She became a literary inspiration for Edgar, gave him something to write about, as well as a love interest. They married in 1836 when she was either 13 or 14 years old. Depends who you ask. So yeah, you married your underage, very underage cousin. First cousin, I believe. Edgar went to work for a magazine, where he developed a reputation as a cutthroat critic. He wrote vicious reviews of his contemporaries, and his tenure proved to be short. His aggressive reviewing style, and sometimes combative personality, proved to be a bit of a strain between him and the publication, so he left. Some reports also say his problem with alcohol contributed to his departure. Edgar also did 2 other brief stints at other newspapers, but nothing really noteworthy. His wife and cousin, Virginia, died in 1847, so they were married for 11 years. He was pretty grief-stricken about that. And while he continued to work, he struggled from poor health and also struggled financially, continuously. His final days actually remain somewhat of a mystery. He left Richmond, Virginia, on September 27, 1849, supposedly on his way to Philadelphia. On October 3rd, a few days later, he was found in Baltimore, in very great distress. He was taken to Washington College Hospital, where he died on October 7th, only a couple days after that. While never having gained financial success in his lifetime, Edgar Allan Poe has become one of America's most enduring writers. His works are as compelling today as they were more than a century ago. A bright and imaginative writer, Poe crafted stories and poems that still shock, surprise, and marvel modern readers. It's true. If I remember correctly from 10th grade English, his best-selling work ever was The Raven, as many people would claim, rightly so, and that he earned a grand total of $14 from it across his lifetime. Awful. It's pitiful. And then combined with everything else he had to deal with in life, it's just not fun at all. So, this man had another wretched life, much like many of the people we've examined on Fridays, and yet is still known as amongst the best in his field. Hope you've enjoyed this fun fact of the day. See you tomorrow.